Hello everyone, Brayden here coming to you with the breaking Disney news update of all Disney news updates. Disney has just announced that Splash Mountain, the iconic flume ride at Walt Disney World and Disneyland, one of the top rated attractions on Earth, will be getting reimagined, as Disney calls it, taking on a new theme of Princess and the Frog. Disney says the theme will be inspired by an all-time favorite animated Disney film, The Princess and the Frog. We pick up this story after the final kiss and join Princess Tiana and Louis on a musical adventure featuring some of the powerful music from the film as they prepare for their first ever Mardi Gras performance. Tiana is a modern, courageous, and empowered woman who pursues her dreams and never loses sight of what's really important. It's a great story with a strong lead character set against the backdrop of New Orleans and the Louisiana Bayou. In 1966, Walt himself opened New Orleans Square when it became the first new land added to Disneyland Park, so it feels natural to link this story and the incredible music of The Princess and the Frog to our parks. All right, first off, there's nothing natural about the Bayou in Frontierland. I think most of us can agree on that. That's why Walt made a separate, distinct land, somewhere else for the New Orleans theme. So that's a little bizarre connection they made right out of the gate. I think here Disney is just talking about in Disneyland, how it will tie in there, how Splash Mountain is in close proximity to that land. That's their focus, and then they'll export the reimagining here to Walt Disney World, where it will be sitting in the Wild West in a desert-themed land next to Big Thunder Mountain and Pecos Bill's Cafe.
We figure it out here, we export it over to Orlando.
And second of all, of course, we have the news itself. I know there's probably a lot of different feelings out there about this. Princess and the Frog coming to the Magic Kingdom in Disneyland. Tiana coming to the parks in and of itself, I think, is great. We already had a similar looking theme to this in this new concept art Disney just gave us back in the reimagining Disney was considering for New Fantasyland around 10 years ago, except there it was going to be Pixie Hollow. But if you notice, it's a very similar look to the theming outside with that sparkly tree. So this is definitely a theme it looks like Imagineering has been wanting to do for a long time. The problem I have here is it's a little disingenuous how it's presented. The whole reason Disney's doing this isn't to add Princess and the Frog to the park. They would just build her own ride, her own area that was made for her that makes sense. But that's not what this is about. What this is all about is getting rid of Splash Mountain, Brer Bear, all those characters and the song that's in the attraction because of its connection to a very problematic film, Song of the South. So it's not about what can we add to the parks, it's we need to get rid of this iconic attraction. What are we going to put inside of it instead? So what Disney's doing here, they're not reimagining the attraction, they are retrofitting it with a different property. So that's what's going on here. And if you're wondering how this all happened, from an outside perspective, it may look like, okay, a few weeks ago, there was a petition. It was like trending on Twitter, replace Splash Mountain because it uses characters and song from this bad movie and replace it with Princess and the Frog. The interesting thing is that is not how this came to be. Maybe that pushed it over the finish line, perhaps. I think you could give it some credit there. But this has been something that Disney has been looking at prior to that petition, is what I will say. And we did see Disney make changes to Pirates of the Caribbean, to make it less offensive. We're going to see the same thing with Splash here, with replacing Splash. And I think the next ones are going to be the Jungle Cruise and Country Bears. That's my prediction. I think there's stuff in those that is going to be gone very soon. I'm very sad to see Splash Mountain go here. Imagine being the guy who made it, Tony Baxter, right now. I'm sure he'd say, well, the parks aren't museums and all of that, but it was a classic. And the timeline on when we are going to see this change happen has yet to be disclosed by Disney, not a year or anything like that yet, when we are going to see the attractions overhauled in Walt Disney World and Disneyland. But given that they've announced it, I do think it'll be fairly soon. So looking ahead to what we are getting here with Tiana coming to the attraction, taking a closer look at the concept art, in the foreground you can see Tiana and Louis in what looks to be a boat on the water with flowers and lily pads that are floating there, and in her boat you have all sorts of Mardi Gras gear. You can see it looks like they've taken the current dead tree that's at the top of the briar patch and added branches and leaves to it, bringing it to life. And with all the little lights, I think we can suspect there will be some sort of laser or projection system of some kind here. I want to say fiber optics, but I doubt we'll get something as cool as that. A lot of the mountain remains exactly the same in this concept art, if you notice. We may see a more washed out paint scheme going forward instead of the super amplified splash look. Some dark grays and some faded dirt look to be in there, although this is night art. It's art at night, what it'll look like at night, so it's hard to say what it will look like during the day. Also interesting, the Splash Mountain water, I'm sure you know this, it's always looked sort of green, and the art, it looks like the water is very clean and blue. So I'm not sure if that is an undertaking that'll make it past the concept art, but just a little bit of an observation there. And then of course at the top with the cypress tree you have the home of Mama Odie from the Princess and the Frog film. I have to say, for a retrofit, the outside does look pretty promising, and looking at Disney's track record of retrofits of classic Disney attractions, I'm glad they are spending a lot of time developing this because the track record has not been very good, but with this one, maybe we'll see a different outcome. Let me know your thoughts on this. In my opinion, it's a very sad day that we're losing such an iconic Disney attraction, or maybe for others, it's a little bittersweet. I am very interested to see what Disney does with Tiana here. That's the wild news from Walt Disney World and Disneyland today. If you'd like to keep up with all the latest details as we track everything that happens with this project, as we get all the details, as well as everything else happening with the parks, be sure to subscribe with those notifications on. From the Mickey Views Magic Studio, thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon. This is Brayden. Have a magical day.